Okay, we got 2 minutes and 8 seconds to get through. That's a crazy first frame. Let's just go. First thing, barely even a second in, and that's a record. I just want to take a look at those little Lucifers. Just zoom in on them real quick. Just want to let you know, little Lucifers, pretty fun, pretty cute. But also, if we move our attention to Alistair, he's pulling a fighting pose at the moment. You know, it's those little details, as I've said, for these hundreds of analyses. It's those tiny, minuscule details that really shine through when you look back at the song. So as I said, little Lucy's main Lucy, and then Alistair's fighting stance for some reason. And obviously, confused looks on everyone's faces, as you would be. But this is probably 3 frames or something like that. It's not very long, this segment. Yet there's so much going on in that one scene, I just had to break it down. Okay, we're going to be talking a lot about perspective in this song. There's a lot of times where Lucifer is tiny, because he realistically is, and other times, like right now, when he seems massive and he dwarfs Charlie, which is purely a product of the camera perspective, because otherwise he would look like an absolute idiot trying to do this. But the camera making him look so much bigger really amplifies that feel, and also the fact he has to use his powers to look bigger. It doesn't say much about the guy. He's tiny, he feels small, so he has to use all these powers to make himself look enormous and colossal, towering. Yet still, he's barely able to make Alistair crack, even that little bit. King of Hell, and he can't even do that. He's got some training to do, despite being alive for longer than everyone else. He's still got some stuff to learn. But I just really like the way that this shot is framed. Charlie being so small, and Lucifer being obviously enormous, it makes Charlie feel more pressured to agree with him and kind of be on his side, because he's so crazy and sporadic. As you'll see in a second, and as you just saw then, he goes so fast. One of the main reasons as to why Charlie's just like, thanks, Dad, is because he's going so quick, along with the fact that he's kind of pressuring her purely because, as a product of the fact that he's going so quick, so it all comes full circle. And as we'll see soon, the contrast between Alistair and Lucifer in terms of mannerisms is quite huge. So I'm just going to make a note of that now. Lucifer is very fast, and he's eager, pretty crazy, insanity-like, to get Charlie on his side and see him as Hell's greatest dad. And there's another bit of camera framing, making him look enormous on that throne, putting himself on a pedestal because no one else will. Mainly, if you think about it, the main reason people want to know Lucifer, like when Mimsy's like, is that Lucifer? The main reason that happens, people want to see him so much, is because of his power and his reputation as being the king, so he must have power. Not the fact that he's nice or scary and intimidating anyway, he just has power that people want to leech off of or use as kind of like protection in a way. Actually, now that I think about it, in the same way that Mimsy, calling back, sprints over to the Hazbin Hotel to use Alistair as protection, leads me to think that the main motives behind why she wants to know Lucifer or speak to him is purely because of that reason, protection, because she knows she's going to do something stupid again, and now she knows that, well, Al's not going to call for it, he doesn't care anymore. As you probably knew in that moment, especially because of how powerful and assertive Al is, it's like, there's probably at some point when he's going to crack and say no. It just so happened that that day, well, this episode was when he was like, listen, I've had enough of it now, that's not really your style. Of course, that's exactly what he said. Wow, that was good. Oh my goodness. Anyway, what were we talking about? Ah, yes, the scene. The great, lovely, voluptuous scene. So yeah, as I said, camera direction is great in this moment. Really cool. Something that's just really tingling. It's tingling a certain part of my brain that I like. Just these visuals of the fire and the huge 5-foot guy. Oh, there we go. Another kind of pop in there. Getting rid of the fire and changing the lighting again a little bit, making it more brighter using white lights. And then this Yelp system, which I don't know why they would... I mean, it sounds like a Lucifer thing at the end of the day. But yeah... But yeah, just don't question it. I really like how he's got that glow and sparkle in his eyes. It calls back to the fact that at the end of the day, he is a ringmaster. That's what he represents. He's the ringmaster of the circus, which is the 7 deadly sins. Therefore, he'd dabble a bit in the acting world, and he'd know how to change emotions fast. That's what Lucifer does a lot in this song. Sometimes he breaks character and actually is angry or sad, but a lot of the time, he's trying to play different emotions, anger, happiness, sadness, really suddenly mixing them up and bouncing off one to another again, and back. He's a really great actor, which just kind of calls back to his actual voice actor, who is also a really great actor. And that, of course, is a shout out to Jeremy Jordan, who doesn't really need a shout out, but I'm gonna give him one anyway. Huge fan, by the way. Oh, I love this. I love that he uses puppets. It's that illusion that people really like him, and he's kind of giving off a playful attitude that he's talking through puppets. It's like, that's fun, but Charlie's having the opposite reaction. Still, that's fun. Also, more camera direction. Lucifer's hand's massive, and so are the puppets in comparison to Charlie. Why are the puppets, which are probably kind of half her size, why are they so big? Like, they're completely in her face, and she's just kind of like, what's going on? Of course, they won't be that big in reality, but the camera makes them look bigger than they actually are, which is a great part of the scene. And also the idea that he just couldn't find any reps, like, no one wanted to support him in getting his daughter back. He had no supporters at all. He couldn't kind of magic someone in. He's got no one on a leash like Al does with Husk. No one's going to support him at all, which is just kind of sad, actually. But at the end of the day, I've done sadder things. Okay, this is probably my favorite scene in the entire song, with the punch of a pentagram. Lucifer flies out. I mean, who else was going to do it? He's the only guy who's kind of singing. But anyway, I just kind of really enjoy the simplicity of it. It's very creative, yet still kind of simple. I mean, he punches a metal board, like a plank, and then himself comes out of it like a pentagram. It's like a stamp kind of thing. Like he stamps a pentagram. I don't really understand it, but I really enjoy it, is what I'm saying. It's just, it's kind of cool, you know? It's something that doesn't really hold too much significance unless it does, which you can let me know in the comments. Obviously, stay respectful and civil. I will do so to you as well. But yeah, just something simple. Okay, whack, bat, boom. These smears, by the way, oh, they are good. Not just this part of the song, because there's not many smears in this part, but later on there's some good smears. If I can catch any, I will kind of point them out. But anyway, right now, there's funny Lucifer. There was two other funny Lucifers a second ago. I just love the creativeness on it. The one thing about this song is it's very visually pleasing. Bit like Stayed Gone and Poison in a very cinematic sense. It wasn't pleasing in a happy way. It was pleasing to the eyes, as in it looked really great visually, you know? The lighting, the animation, the creativeness of the shots. Everything was so great in that song, and Hell's Greatest Dad completely transfers that over here. Also, another thing, Loser Baby I want to mention as a little segment. Loser Baby uses both the real world and a bit of science fiction, which is already science fiction. It's bloody demons in hell, furry spider and all that. But what I'm saying is, it uses visuals towards the end of the song, but most of the song is done on the side of the road that they begin in. You know, when the song starts and they're sat there, it's all kind of one shot. There's barely, at least in the start of the song, it's very slow paced and there's not many cuts and changes to the camera direction. It's normally just facing those two and just panning across. They do use visuals at the end though, when it gets all kind of, you know, when you do that really great bit, I put a picture on screen. When the theme goes all neon, it's like a dark abyss with the neon characters. Really great stuff, but most of it is kind of one continuous shot, or it gives that feel. But here, the entire song of Hell's Greatest Dad is completely reliant on visuals. The whole thing is very visual heavy. The song itself is amazing, and the things that are being said have a lot of weight behind them. But one great thing about this song, when it comes and it's paired with the, what was I going to say? When it comes and it's paired with the visuals, it just looks really great and very pleasing. Especially the whap bap boom, that's freaking epic, by the way. And not only that, like, the line is good, and then, like, stretchy, bouncy Lucifer, like, dude, he's a little chunky, and then he's a little squishy, like, oh, man, it's just so freaking cool. I'm very passionate about this series, which is one of the reasons that I'm still doing it. Otherwise, I would have given up a while ago when the trend died. When the trend died. I don't know why I said it like that. I'm fun with it, though. I think I'm pretty fun. Ooh, did you see the cane spin then? That was a sick cane spin. Anyway, this is really important, actually. Usually I charge a sacrificial lamb, and obviously Charlie's confused, and it looks as if Lucifer kind of knows what's going to happen, because the face that he's pulling is quite smug. He obviously doesn't know, but we just want to note first, with the Satanists in the background, obviously he's not Satan, but they look like Satanists. They worship the devil. He is the devil, and it's obviously copies of him in a hood, but I just really like the design. Like, the design, even though it's Lucifer still, the outfit they've got on is really cool. Like, the colors of that hood, that cloak, is something that really needs to be acknowledged, because, like, that's a really great design for a character. If Lucifer shows up in season 2 and he's wearing that to scare someone or something, I would love it, just because of how well that design looks. Just the cloak, the coloring, as I've said, great. But yeah, usually I charge a sacrificial lamb. That's very important, because that individual right there, the goat, some would say, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between, that is Dazzle, and guess what? Guess who dies in the finale? Dazzle. And also, when Dazzle dies in the finale, Dazzle dies, who then appears when a previously metaphorical but now literal sacrificial lamb is offered? Lucifer! So that right there, with Dazzle chained down, well, roped down, to that table as a sacrificial lamb in this visual sense, actually becomes reality. It's true. It's foreshadowing, people. You ever heard of foreshadowing? It's a very important device used in media. Obviously, you do know what it is, but it's a great kind of in-joke to bring up. Though, of course, speaking of in-jokes, I will say this has a lot of symbolism and emphasizes the feeling to the viewer, which is something that I say a lot if you're new here. There it is, that scene that I was talking about before, where there's several of you. Oh my god, I've not only just realized, desperate Lucifers, like top left, bottom right, even bottom left. Like there's one, you know, the top right there's a bit nice, and then middle main Lucy, he's a bit kind of same look as his daughter, really trying to sell this, while his daughter's got the same expression and but similar emotion with a different motive, kind of like, I also need to sell this, but sell that I'm actually interested, you know? Charlie's trying to sell that she's interested in what her father's saying, and she agrees, yeah, sure, just nod your head and smile, it'll be okay. And Lucifer is trying to sell this idea to her, and obviously they're completely opposite despite having the exact same emotion. The motives are just completely off. Though, can we just talk about, especially bottom left Lucifer, like, that's eerie, that's creepy, man, that's really creepy. It's not even like the other two, top left and bottom right, where it's like eagerness and insanity, crazy, lunatic Arkham Asylum kind of stuff. Like that right there is sinister and sly, that facial expression. Oh, dude, the more that I look at it, I'm actually kind of creeped out by it. It's just kind of unlocked a childhood memory of being afraid of, like, smiles in the dark. Like, that's a very specific thing to be afraid of, and a really weird tangent to go on. But when I was about 6, dude, like, I used to have a thing where, here's some lore, here's some cryptid lore. If someone made a sudden loud noise when it was dark, my friend did this to me once. We were sat in the car and I said, I'm scared of when it's loud and when a sudden loud or bang, right? So that's why I didn't like fireworks, because it was a sudden bang when it was dark. And my friend just looked at me. Oh man, what a devious, evil 6-year-old. I'm gonna run some B-roll while I'm saying this, because some of you might not be interested, most of you. But he looks at me, this 5 or 6-year-old, and just goes, and his face just drops to like a shock, and then he just goes, ah! And dude, when I tell you, we were driving home from somewhere, and it was like 6 p.m. in the winter, so it's dark, but it's not like 3 a.m. Hit time of YouTube fame, don't call X at 3 a.m. prank. It was not that time. It was very early. But dude, oh my goodness, it scared the hell out of me. And ever since, from that moment until I realized I was being a dumbass, which I'm still realizing now, but this fear ended a long time ago, okay? Just ignore that. I was afraid of a devious smile in the dark. And you know that meme of that guy? I'm going on tangents, so many tangents. The guy with when he like smiles in the dark and then starts laughing, that's what I was envisioning. But then when it finally like circulated around, I was too old, mature, and cool to be scared of it. Though if I did see that pop up at 3 a.m, I'd probably shit myself. Anyway, just wanted to say that smile from Lucifer has brought me back to some old ancient times and unlocked some memories that I tried to repress. Who needs a busboy? Oh, who needs a busboy now that you got the chef? Now, I didn't notice this at first. Also, I really like the immersion of how that's kind of a picture on the wall. But then Charlie is like, you know, the inspectors that come to restaurants to kind of rate the restaurant? That's what Charlie's giving off here. You know, she sat there with her notepad, theoretically, and she's kind of writing down. She's giving that vibe of trying to keep her posture okay and sit up, because she's a very important businesswoman, which she is, but not in this sense. And it kind of seems like she's there to be an inspector of the restaurant, you know? It gives me an odd kind of vibe that I do really enjoy and like to kind of mess around with in my mind, the hypotheticals and stuff. But anyway, Lucifer, my boy Lucy, if you notice, he's got one arm coming out of the screen, very subtly going out of frame, and then, you see, I thought this was like a clone of him, and then it grabs Al, but no, it's an extension of his arm using probably powers to grab Al from the back by the waist, which probably really traumatized him, because touch Alistair and he wants to kill you. And then he drags him out of frame, spinning him into that pan. I didn't know that it had a transition like that, you know, I just thought maybe a clone grabbed him like I said, or it's just cool little transition. But looking now, it actually has some continuity with it for all that it is. I mean, the fact that he's kind of dressed up like a waiter and then in a minute he's a nun, that there is some continuity errors there that are kind of shining through. But the fact the animation team decided to add that as the only real reminiscent of continuity in Hell's Greatest Ad, the song and visuals, is a nice touch at the end of the day. Now that you've got the chef. Wow. Well, I didn't notice that they were all different colours. Oh man, one's looking like Stolas. One of them's looking quite pimpy. Actually, looking at them all now, you probably can't tell which one I'm talking about. They all look quite pimpy. Getting a lot of vibes from those little Lucy's in the background. And then a very devious look from the main man himself. And then also, itty bitty Alistair on that pan. Poor guy. I want to try and circle this. See, am I circling it right? Yeah. If you don't know, for context, I stand up when I record these videos, and I don't yet have a standing desk, so I have to reach down every time I want to press play. We're getting a lot of cryptid lore in this video. I'm hoping you're enjoying it. Unless you've clicked off, which... Oh, this is a really great scene. So many Lucifer waiters, by the way. But we see, I think we can... I'm not gonna go back. I'm not going back. Okay, I went back. Anyway, we see dead Alistair on a table, and then Charlie herself having one of the most insane, raw, shocked emotions that I've ever seen that would put any reaction YouTuber to shame. I also really like the addition that Alistair's still smiling when he's dead. That's a very important thing, because I'm guessing he would do, and that could be considered foreshadowing. Maybe Lucifer's gonna kill Alistair, but I doubt it. If he ever becomes the main twist villain, which people think he's gonna be, honestly, I don't know. I'm not really one for theories on this channel, but I will put my 2 cents in, or my 2 pence, we should say. I'm British. I don't really think Alistair's being killed by any of the main cast that we see at the moment. It could be possible. I can envision a hypothetical scenario in my head where Lucifer kills Alistair. It's very probable to me in a very continual sense, and it makes sense if he was going to be the twist villain. But at the end of the day, I don't really think he will be the twist villain. In my opinion, they'll be building him up to be this kind of mysterious character, and he'll slowly reveal more, and he'll have a tragic backstory. Some people will feel bad for him. It'll be kind of like a Marmite thing. He is now already. Marmite thing. Some people love him, some people hate him. But you either love him or you hate him. There's no one really indifferent about Al. I just don't think that you would take that risk of becoming the great villain after maybe Vox or Lilith. There's no need to make Alistair a villain. Maybe I'm just a stan. Yeah, okay. Right, I understand now. One thing I do want to say, those 2 waiters in the background, they're both Lucifer, but they remind me very much, if you ever watched the movie Coco, there's actually 2 shoe shiners who are kind of like ancestors that we see in like the Bone World. Not the Bone World. That's just Hazbin Hotel World, man. The hell of a burst is Bone World. In the afterlife, should I say, in that movie. And they just kind of remind me of that scene where they just keep like going in front of each other, trying to hide behind each other's backs. Oh, mate, that's a great scene. Cinema. Okay, I don't speak French, but yeah, he provides her with a cake that has dead Alistair on it. But by the way, great cards. The design for those cards is... Wow, that is some pristine art, and I'm hoping, I've not seen any of the trading cards for the Hazbin Hotel stuff, but I really hope they have something similar to that. Hazbin Hotel playing cards would bang, no? I feel like they really would. It fits so well. Though if Spindlehorse would hypothetically decide to conspire something up, I would hope that they do a version that's kind of normal, and then a version that's just each and every card has Lucifer on it, because these designs are so good, they deserve to be used in merch, man. Oh, here we go. Notice how everything on that slot machine is Lucifer related. Like, there is the snake. There's also kind of like a heavenly crown, I think. I don't know what that thing is. I know there's an apple, and there's a snake, and then I think maybe the pearly gates or a crown, or just heaven as a whole. And then together, that makes Lucifer, because obviously he was the serpent, and he gave the apple, and he was banished from heaven. Made him the man that he is today, Lucifer Morningstar! Which is a reference to my most popular video. Have you ever watched that? Anyway. Yeah. So weird. Okay, let's just keep going. I'm trying to press play. Oh, another iteration of continuity. Obviously, right there, Lucifer came out of that machine. It's so hypothetical. It's just kind of like a metaphorical thing. But then he actually ripped off that ref outfit, but because of the simps, they couldn't show it on screen, so they had to go off camera to strip himself off back into his other clothes, obviously. It's just how it works. Well, this is a really great part. I really like when he just summons stuff in. It's very visually pleasing. A lot of this song is visually pleasing. It's very visually pleasing, this song, I've realized. Oh, yes! Oh man, we love Jeremy Jordan singing. And then, who else but Amir Talai in a second, who's also really amazing. But I will say that moment when he's summoning stuff in, like caviar mountains and champagne fountains, oh, that's the wrong way around. Anyway, when he summons that stuff in, dude, masterclass in just visuals. And there's probably so many things you could pick out from those piles of a bunch of stuff, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm an analysis YouTuber. I probably should do that. I'm gonna do that. Okay, we can see that there are statues of Lucifer, raining waterfalls of piss. I mean, champagne, sorry. Okay, that joke landed. Caviar mountains, just really showing as well a lot of gold. Obviously, gold is a royal color, and like I've said many times, lighting can evoke emotion in a scene, and yellow lighting is a great way. Well, gold lighting. Yellow lighting sometimes can be like a dim light, that's more orange, but if you have a genuinely shining yellow to gold gradient light, dude, that gives off so many effects. Incredible. Also, the trophy in the background, giving that idea that he's the king, he is the best. Obviously, another thing, a crown, a golden crown in the right, that is also him being the king. He's basically using a lot of ethos right now to kind of give himself that credibility and secure himself in Charlie's mind as like, hey, I can give you this, I can give you that, loads of materialistic things, but I'm also the king, as you can see with that staff as well, the scepter. I also have a trophy, and many more behind the scenes, just to say, and a lot of gems surrounding it, just to prove that I am golden, very literally, and also figurative, and also metaphorical, also all of everything. There it is, the lighting change went out. Look at that smash smear. Welcome to the world of animation. But when Al pops in, we see it's purplish lighting. Purple is royal and evil, you know? Purple, red, they're evil colors. Obviously, Alistair, he is red, and with purple light in the background, it gives it a kind of royal feel, and really gives that emphasis on, if you think about it, Lucifer's lighting is golden, because he's trying to sell something to you, golden, it makes it seem so good, and bigger, and better than it ever could be. That's why golden flake top pizza is so much more expensive, because it has gold on it. Without the gold on it, it's just pizza, with expensive ingredients that were imported from different countries. It means absolutely nothing in comparison to several other things, such as living life, going on a really nice long walk. Much more fulfilling things than a freaking pizza that's worth 50 grand that you just do to... Right, I'm ranting now. I'm ranting, okay. I'm really throwing memes in general right now for all you Discord mods out there. But yeah, I'm more of a degenerate than you, I can bet. I'm sat here talking about Hazbin Hotel. I'm definitely worse. But yeah, as I was saying, Lucifer's trying to sell this idea to Charlie through all these golden, really bright lights and all these amazing things, materialistic things, and that's what the gold is representing. But here, and as I've noticed now, also a green volumetric light, which is great as well, because green is evil too. Green is like poison, but it can also be nature in certain scenarios. Green is green for good, but it's also green for like poisonous gas, it's very much a mixed bag and a total gamble. So the fact that we've got green lights, red lights, and purple lights, this is what it tells me. As I've said, Lucifer's is about selling things and being all amazing, seeming bigger than it actually is. Alistair's is all about him actually being Hell's greatest dad. Now, what do I mean by that? He's obviously giving off that vibe of evil. He always is. The red from him, the fact that his eyes are glowing red as well, it gives a bit of red light, a red tint to the room. Obviously, Alistair is red because he is evil, or is perceived as evil, and he has evil intentions. The purple is royal with a tint of evil, and the green is kind of like an accent color to give more evil, poisonous, kind of parasitical vibe. Obviously, green we think of gross as well, such as, sorry for everyone listening, but snot, infections, toxic biochemicals. Alistair is toxic. That's what the green is. The green accent, the green volumetric light, that lighting symbolizes that Alistair is toxic. The purple is parasitical royal, and the red is evil. So basically what I'm trying to say is that's giving me the impression, it's implying to me, given the effect of Alistair is evil, he is parasitical, he will latch on, and he will not let go because he's toxic. But also, he is ultimately the real king. He is Hell's greatest dad. Because the purple is telling me royal, as I've said. Royal, king, queen, everything. And Alistair is a queen he slays with several wives, but also, he's the king. Hell's greatest dad, and that implies to me also that he wants to be king. He wants to take over Lucifer's throne at some point. Look how he's throwing him out of the scene, out of that royal atmosphere, and he's joining. Just as we see the lighting changes when he joins, it says the exact same thing to me. As soon as he joins, it turns royal looking. That implies to me he is king and he's going for the crown, which can also, now that I'm thinking about it, influence your idea that Lucifer may kill Alistair because he might go for the throne. Same thing. Who has been faithful as a nun? Another great line, very iconic line, and Charlie is kind of in a mix of shock and happiness that he's taking up his cosplay venture and fixing his hair by covering it. But I, for one, am extremely impressed by the visuals. I do really like this metaphor that Alistair is all holy, he's good, because obviously nuns are perceived to be good and holy and devoted to the Lord, to heaven. And guess where Charlie wants people to go? Heaven. But look, on his nun's outfit, an upside down cross of the devil, symbolizing he wants to be the king of hell. That's what it comes across to me. He wants to be of the devil, therefore insinuating also that he wants to be the devil by kicking who else but her dad from the throne by taking her and using the power. That's what it implies to me. That silly little gag has so many meanings and so many layers. Oh, and there we go. The color change of the century. Back to that pilot look when he goes completely opposite, inverted colors. It very much gives that vaporwave feel. And the way that things are inverted and the lighting and everything, it's just really cool. And we haven't really seen a lighting change like this in the Helliverse since Season 2, Episode 7 of Helliverboss. With, you guessed it, glitz and glam. One of the best color changes in animation, in my opinion. Well, this lives up to it, doesn't it? Especially for an animation that's now gone mainstream, when things have to be a lot more toned down and simplified for the screen. Right, here we go. This is the similar thing with what happens to Lucifer when he tries to convince Charlie by cloning himself. To me, this is kind of more visual with Al, but let's take it as if it is hypothetically, because he can create clones and little shadow people. So let's say he did create clones of himself and pop into the scene. Not only is it breaking the immersion in a very immersive way, but it's also giving that idea that he's doing exactly what Lucifer's doing, being very fast, sporadic, and getting in her face, putting his arm around her, and she's letting him. That's the difference. She's smiling, happy. She's not trying to put on an act or play along, smile and nod. Charlie is genuinely invested in what Al is saying, because Al's built that trust through being there, being present, and smiling, having that idea that he's there to help. He's here to aid, and also the fact that he says, you're executive producer. And Charlie says, that's true. He's really convincing her. The difference between Lucifer and Al is Lucifer is saying, hey, I have all these great things with my power that I can give you. I can bring you so many things, so much power. But Al is saying, how about you think about authenticity, which is a very unique thing and pretty great and hypocritical of Al, if you think about it in retrospect. He's trying to preach to Charlie about being authentic and staying to her roots, who's been here since day one. I've been here this entire time. I've supported you. He's not. Very much implying that he's not, though really we can see straight through it, and Charlie does as well. He's trying to simplify things and just say, hey, I've been here. A manipulation tactic that he uses later on, which I'll get to. But basically, he says, the family you choose is better, which is implying that not only have I been here since day one, but so is everyone else. And bringing more than one person into it and not making it so narcissistic can really change the direction of someone's view, more in favor of the one that you want them to believe in. So the fact that Al is completely imitating what Lucifer's just done, but with a different tone and a different motive and meaning, and very explicitly though acting coming across with this new idea, it makes it so much easier for Charlie to believe and be influenced by. Your steadfast hotelier. If you think about it, a hotelier, quite much more than a producer. Alistair's implying that he owns the entire hotel. A hotelier is someone who owns. A producer is someone who's just behind the scenes. He's doing things so quick and getting through his points and kind of switching the argument around in a very efficient manner. Like I said, imitating Lucifer going through things so quick, whereas Lucifer had this effect of going through things so quick that Charlie couldn't comprehend. Al is giving her a great point and then moving so far along so quickly that she had to process the first bit, but nothing else that he's saying, and now the stuff that he's saying now can kind of give that effect of, hey, I'm the hotelier, I'm moving up the ranks, I'm getting higher and higher and closer to being the boss, the leader, and eventually the leader of the underworld, where I want to be, or where I theoretically think that Al wants to be, when I don't really want to bring theories into this, but I really feel like there is a strong argument behind my theory, because all of this evidence. Obviously, other theorists who may disagree with me will also give a lot of evidence, and I really believe in that. I think that's amazing. But yeah, basically what I'm saying is I do believe, and I feel like it should be considered an odd fact that he wants to have some form of power, because he's always wanted power. He's had a history of wanting power, and he stayed mysterious, not really given motive as to why he's here, and just said, oh, I like to see people trip, I'm a psychopath. Oh, well, that's not new down here, is it? He fits so well in, despite the fact that he's also sticking out like a sore thumb. Oh, and here's someone else. Nifty, you're not as innocent. People really think that Nifty's that innocent. She's just a killer, you know? She's a psychotic killer who likes to kill things. There is more to that than meets the eye. She's playing along this act. Nifty is also a part of this equation, because seeing him being kind of like a fatherly figure to someone else who believes that, or seemingly believes that, Charlie's looking and thinking, hey, this guy's father material, you know? He's had experience with Nifty. But then if you think about it, Charlie, just sit down and think. If Alistair hypothetically was Nifty's father, or father figure, look at how Nifty's ended out to be. Do you want to end up like Nifty, stabbing things? You know, just going around stabbing bugs? I don't think you do. You want your hotel to succeed, girl. So I would probably think about that, but Charlie's not, because, you know, like I said, manipulation tactics, he's moving so fast. This will convince me, you know? I'm saying all this stuff, and you should sit down, yes, Charlie, you should think about it, but I wouldn't. I probably believe Al as well if I spent that much time with him. Oh, I love that neon sign as well. Another visual thing with the neon smiling faces. Alistair's being quite wide and Charlie's being quite wide as well, but more genuine looking. And here's something that Al's doing, which is very precious. So he's built up this reputation of not wanting touch. There's a difference. Here's another difference between Al and Lucifer. Lucifer walks in and hugs Charlie, and it's kind of uncomfortable, right? For Charlie, at least, of course. Yes, we could argue that. The shining difference here is Al shows up very mysterious, doesn't really give off much information, but then eventually he just lets that brew for a while, and when Lucifer shows up, it's now time to strike. He's never really had physical contacts on his menu, and now, finally, out of the blue, out of nowhere, while he's trying to convince Charlie of something, he will utilize the things that he doesn't normally do. He'll go out of character, and it'll feel like he's taking a step forward, and Charlie will be like, hey, he's coming out of his comfort zone, he's getting more comfortable with me. He could be, you know, on his path to redemption, getting one step closer. It's another form of manipulation where he's actually really thought this out, built up this reputation, and then when he finally breaks from that, it's a lot more effective, because Charlie knows what it's like to have an Al who doesn't like physical contact, and as you see, that really resonates with her. So if anyone's really thinking out there, if you are considering or doubting what I'm saying, does she really care that Al's, you know, touching her and getting physically close? Well, here's my argument. Why else would Charlie never hug Al in this series, but then after this moment, she's willing to link with him in episode 7, which is obviously a very gentlemanly gesture, and it's not really seen as physical contact as we see it in the same way as like a handhold or a hug is. It's more of a respectable way that you would do with anyone, really. But it really shines when Al, quote-unquote, comes back from the dead. You know, they didn't really know if he was alive or dead by the end of the finale, and Charlie hugs him. She would never have hugged him if he hadn't got this close on this exact day. So that's what I'm saying. Alistair has utilized his knowledge of what Charlie's knowledge is, which is odd. He's thought to himself, well, she thinks that I don't like physical contact, so if I show something such as physical contact that she's not used to seeing from me, it'll give that impression that she's making an impression, you know? She is actually making an imprint on my personality, making me a better person, going towards the ideal outcome she wants for me, and that is what he's using right now. He's using the idea of getting closer to redemption to completely fluke her over. Play her like a violin, as they say. Well, speaking of violins, we may see something in a second. Okay, more of that. The kind of physical thing saying you are like the chat. That's a very outright way of saying it. It's really, he's trying to play into this game right now. And he's definitely playing the game, and he's playing it freaking well. He knows exactly what he's doing. And look at his, he has a sinister smile, man. That has got so much motive behind it. An ulterior to what Charlie's thinking right now. Also, more camera direction. Look there. Alistair is massive. And then where's Lucifer? Beep, beep, beep. Lucy is all the way down there at the bottom. Whereas Al, where else but the front and center. I care for you just like a daughter I spawned. Same thing again with camera direction. I just want to say, I do actually have to pause every couple of seconds. Most of the time, there is genuine stuff that I see. Like, I want to say 99% of the time, there is genuine things that I do notice. But sometimes, I do actually have to, legally jump in every 5 or so seconds to actually give some commentary. Because if I run it for over 10 seconds, I get copyright claimed. Then you just won't hear music for 10 seconds and it'll be awkward. So, for the sake of actually hearing those sound bites, I'll cut in a little bit. Hold on now. There it is again. Lucifer was kind of big for a second, and then Al jumps in, immediately physically squashes him, and makes him smaller in the scene. And also, another thing that he does, he brings his lighting with him. It's like he's taking over the area. Every time that Al is on screen, he takes over the area. He fills the frame in the same way that Vox or Val does, filling the frame with his color scheme, and forcefully giving the scene a look akin to his motives, his personality, who he is. That's one really great thing to notice when these characters show up, and as you'll see right now, boom, it's red, gold, white, Lucifer colors once again. The red is kind of orange and the yellow is yellow. If we just go a little bit out here, as you can see, yes, it's not really a crimson red, it's the same or similar red gradient, the innards of his hat or his gown. So this is as if Lucifer has taken over the scene now, and look at him, camera direction, look, it punches in. As you can see there, the camera punches in closer to show Lucifer with this odd expression, but it makes him look bigger and seem, as I've said several times, a lot bigger than he actually is in reality. Another line that I want to mention, you could almost call me Dad, and he looks at Lucifer. Obviously, you could probably decipher that yourself. That is insane wording, you know? That's not very nice, Al. But it's also he's playing the game. Look at his face, so bloody sinister. Absolutely crazy, man. Like, insanity. Driving me bonkers. There, exactly the same thing again. Crushes him, as you can see if you slow it down. Actually crushes him with the piano, which transitions to the next scene where Al has brought back his inverted colors. He's taken over the scene. This entire song is not just about power scaling, it's about scaling. Physical scaling. It's a constant view of one above the other. But if you think about it, any scene that Lucifer's in, without Alistair, most of the time, except for maybe when Charlie might take over a couple of times, he's the biggest thing on the frame. But there's no scene with Lucifer and Al in it where Lucifer is the dominant force, ever. Each and every time Al and Lucy are on the same stage, they're either equal with each other or one is bigger than the other, and it's always Al. Lucy never has the edge over Alistair, and that's in a visual sense, obviously not a power sense, but I just wanted to make that point. There it is, a lighting change again. On the left, we have Al's colors and his voodoo magic, and on the right, we see it slowly cutting in. What is it? It's Lucifer. Lucifer once again, and we can see a twisted smile on Al's face. It kind of shocked, like a vermin, you know? You know that scene in Hell of a Boss where Stryker says vermin, and he has that black poison dripping from his mouth? That's exactly what I think of when I see Al right now. It's the same feel, and honestly, that could be a callback to the fact that Ed Bosco, who voices Stryker, voiced Al in the pilot, so bringing those mannerisms, that similar look that Stryker has in that one episode, till right now, when Al has that look here, it could be a callback to Stryker. But then again, at that point, he wasn't actually voicing Stryker, but it's a great thing in retrospect. Yeah, he takes over again, but guess what? He's not bigger. He's not even near bigger. They're equal. Like I've said, they're either neutral or Al is bigger. It's the exact same thing. Oh, and he's back again. He's looking into the camera, and he's taken over the scene. He looks big. So he throws all this stuff on Charlie, which is very metaphorical. But look in the background. The hotel is in his colors. The Hazbin Hotel in the background has Al's colors. And where is the most powerful light? his radio tower. Where else would it be? Not even the sign that says Hazbin Hotel is as bright as his freaking radio tower. But yeah, this is a very metaphorical thing, but he throws this stuff onto Charlie, these books that symbolize responsibility, leadership, and the other thing that I don't know what it says, but I saw it a second ago, success, I think? Success. And saying that with all that weight, there is only one solution.
It's smart to pick the path of least resistance.
Well, first of all, it says stress. Second of all, he's saying, I'm powerful, technically. He's showing her, with his powers, what it would be like to hold all this stuff on her back, like she is now on her shoulders even. But then he's saying, the path of least resistance, which means, hey, I'll do all of the dirty work for you. I'll do everything that you don't want to do in turn for the power, you know? For the things that I want. It seems too good to be true, but Charlie is so desperate at this point because of how close the extermination is that she's eager to do anything. And when Al's argument seems a lot more intriguing than her father's argument, Charlie is very inclined to take Al's offer at this point.
Others say that in your needy hour.
Look right there again. Lucifer is taking the stage, and guess what? It is yellow gold again. And we can see a star right there, which it has some symbolism, but I forgot where from.
There's no substitute for pure.
Oh, and here he is. He just pops up behind her. Just wanted to make that point. Very, very weird. He can do anything, this man. Oh, here we go again. Not only, he doesn't really make himself look big in that moment. He just makes a loads of clones of himself. So he does look big with the lighting. Obviously, we could see. Charlie, can you, like, move for a second while I'm just explaining this, please, for the people? We can see that Lucifer isn't really big. He's not filling up the frame. But the fact that there's so much of his color scheme in the scene, and also the lighting glowing from behind him as if he is the prodigy. He is the one thing that will solve all these problems. He's really trying to sell this right now. And that's when he kind of really takes that a little bit of the edge there. He actually has a valid point. He's talking about his power once again, but in a way that genuinely starstrikes Charlie.
Who just happens to also be your blood.
Now he's getting desperate, you know? It was great a second ago, and then now he's going too far with the sadistic look. And then look at Charlie once again. She is pulling a face that she pulled before, the smile and nod. When has she had to do that with Al? Not yet. They're playing the exact same game with completely different rules. He joins the scene without changing the lighting like he has done this entire time. He joins in while it's still yellow and gold, shoves the main article out of the way, and fills the scene despite it not being to his liking. He just adapts to every atmosphere that he's in, man. He just cannot get away from this man. And there it is. As we can see, if we go back, on the screen, Al is still in that atmosphere, and he's still filling up the frame. But then, over here in Al land, where it's all purple, green, and a hint of red, Lucifer doesn't stand out, you know? Alistair manages to stand out in Lucifer's territory. When Lucifer is sent to Al's domain, he cannot even be seen, you know? And also the camera direction of Al being all the way up there, and despite the fact that obviously he's not enormous in the scene, actually Lucifer's model is probably, well, Lucifer's drawing is probably bigger than Al's in comparison, yet still, if you think about it, Al looks bigger and more powerful, and kind of looks like he's flexing his muscles right now. Here it is again. The family you choose is better. He's trying to win her over by saying, hey, we're a family, you know? Emphasize that. We are family. That's what he's saying. Anywho, what are we talking about? Oh, yes, this amazing show. I love the way that Al is fully drawn and everyone else is incomplete. You've got to rely on me. That's what it gives the impression of. Visually, it's saying that, hey, all these other people, they're kind of obsolete, you know? That we are family and we are a community of togetherness. But really, the only complete soul that you can rely on is me, because even though it's a visual thing, Al is a complete sinner. But behind him are the family, which is completely drawn and not even coloured in, which implies that they're just not that important, you know? The main article is one that's going to be finalised and looked at in a very appealing manner, which is what Al is.
What a bunch of losers.
Oh, but here it goes. The lighting changed, so Lucifer pops in, bats Al out the way. Oh, look, it's all sunshine and rainbows. And then Al brings his lighting back in. They are physically changing it every 2 seconds. And then, look at that. It switches to Lucifer again. And then it switches to Al when he takes the dominant position. And then, look at that. It's a mix. On the left, we have purple. On the right, we have yellow, which is a complete and utter great moment of balance between the two. Al is still smiling. Lucifer is frowning. They are at each other's throats. Despite the fact that Al is winning and Lucifer is very much losing, they are at the same level of anger. That's a very weird thing that kind of struck me there. Why is it that they are at the same exact moment, despite the fact that one of them has had it way worse than the other? Are they equal in their emotion? And also, one thing really great to notice, they are neutral, equals on the stage. But like I said, there is no scene where Lucifer's bigger. Sorry, buddy. You're never on top. You are a bottom. Anyway, now, I would love to stop it there because my voice is shot and I really need to go and get a tea, which is very British of me. So yeah, I really hope you enjoy. What did I think of the Mimsy scene? I loved it. There's a lot to say about the Mimsy scene, but my voice is shot. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video. On screen right now is me analysing Poison, which is one of my favourite songs. So yeah, go and watch that right now. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. Stay positive. Gabba!